So from that point of view, I don't want to think that INEC has done badly at all. You see, but I must reverence and not moton, you see, because I was building a case which is still hanging like the hanging garden of Babylon. Because the vilification of Jega and the attempt to bespatter Jega as somebody that is inefficient is just a PDP smoke screen because they are not ready for this election. And I say it with all sense of responsibility and humility, that the atrophying, ossifying, and sisyphine political dinosaur that is PDP just now is skedaddling away from this election. And let me reiterate a vaudeville of political subterfuges that has been built over time. The moment it became clear to the People's Democratic Party that our presidential candidate, General Muhammadu Buhari, was standing on a moral high ground, the moment it became clear that the APC has become something of a political kamikaze, an attempt was made to see whether President Goodluck Jonathan would become the sole candidate. And that was why, rather than chasing substances, they engaged in Skayamaki up to 24 hours ago. They were still raising issues as to the qualification of General Buhari. The qualification thing blew up in their face. They went to perjury. Perjury blew up in their face. And they said Buhari was dead. That blew up in their face. They questioned the mental capacity of GMB. That blew up in their face. They dispatched the National Security Advisor in a very neo-colonial manner that marks of political gambadoism to go to London and tell us from Chatham House that the election was going to be postponed for PVC reasons. Jega was summoned to the National Security Council of State meeting, and Jega talked about his readiness to conduct the election. The former head of state gave a go-ahead and imprimatur for Jega to conduct the elections. In spite of that, there was a military coup against February 14.
Mr. Obahiagbon, let's step back a little bit. Before the announcement was made, or after the announcement was made, from that period till now, you have said that INEC has seen a lot of improvement, especially in the area of PVC distribution. We now have about 81%. So if the elections had happened on the 14th of February, over 20 million Nigerians would have been disenfranchised. Would that have been good enough?
True, yes. But the 81% people that have collected their PVC, are they all going to come out to vote? Why have we not had
no guarantee?
Why have we not had 100% collection of PVC rates just now? And when Jega addressed the National Council of State, it was ecumenically pontificative as to the fact that at that time, the performance rate of PVC was well over and above the situation in 2011.
But have you heard Professor Zigad say recently that the 6-week extension gave INEC enough time to better prepare for the election?
No doubt about it.
You heard him say that.
No doubt about that. But the truth of the matter was that postponement was a Fabian strategy by President Jonathan and PDP to breathe more political life to their sagging political solar plexus.
Okay. Mr. Ananuju,
yes.
Your party, according to Mr. Obahiagbon, deliberately scuttles the elections that were scheduled for February 14th because your party was afraid all your gimmicks to ensure that the presidential candidate of the APC failed, and so you sought a way to give your own candidate room to prepare better. True or false?
That is false. I'm happy from your own account also. You know, the world knows, Jega said publicly that the extension was a blessing in disguise. As at the time the extension was announced, Jega had not yet hired and prepared the 700,000 plus ad hoc staff that were supposed to handle this election. It's not, you understand, they have their own internal staff, but they also needed to get that 700,000 ad hoc staff. Those people had not yet, as at that time, been prepared. The card readers that me and you are talking about today were only test run after the extension was given. Even after that test run, you saw how woefully it failed. It failed 95% in Ebonyi State. It failed 72% in Taraba State. It failed in Kano. It failed 63% in Niger State. It failed 64% in Nasarawa State. The national failure rate was actually 41%. So you want to run for an election where up to 40%, more than 40% of the citizenry will not know it. The truth was, Jega was not ready. And you know, there are several component things that go into an election. Not just Jega saying, I'm ready. A man can say, I'm ready to dance, but if the lady going to dance with you is not there to dance, you can't just go to the floor and dance alone. The soldiers were not ready. We were at that time, at the very beginning of an onslaught against Boko Haram, which most opinion leaders in the north told us was far more important than election. Get the soldiers to deal with Boko Haram. We cannot be dying and you say you're voting. And our soldiers today, to the testament of everybody, has actually gotten very good, successful. Mr. Obahiagbon is afraid that because Nigerians have now seen, with the time given, that good luck has actually performed. Our railways are working. We have done everything that is necessary humanly to gain our traction on electricity. You know we've taken care of that. The fact that we've been able now to advertise and show the world that good luck, despite the propagative, fraudulent rhetorics of the APC, has actually done more for Nigeria than anyone else in our country's history. Look at northern Nigeria, where we have, as we said, a growing and expanding economy that is not inclusive of the millions of young people in the north. Why? Because historically, no education had been available in northwest Nigeria due to the introduction of the Almanjiri system. In 208 years, Nigeria has suddenly changed today the Almanjiri curriculum. We have now made the Almanjiri curriculum so holistic that you can now have several subjects inside it. That means you will now train boys not trained on hate. Nigerians that can come out and be included in an expanding economy. And this is what we've been looking at. Show the people what you've done. General Buhari has done nothing. The APC is just a fractious party built upon hate. All they want is power. They don't want no argument. They don't. We are here doing debate. You saw me do debates around the country. I'm talking today to Patrick Obahiagbon. Did Mr. Buhari agree to come to debate? No. You don't want Nigerians to see the character of the man who wants to read them. This is the problem that we have with the APC. They don't want Nigerians to understand what's going on. They just want power. How could you just want power like that without saying what you want to do with it? As I'm speaking to you, they have no plan on what you do. Okay, they have no strategy on electricity. They have nothing on oil and gas. So let us sustain this transformation that we have seen that has given us so much good. Don't forget, this crisis we're talking about that brought about the postponement of the election is the insurgency in northern Nigeria. This insurgency in northern Nigeria was caused primarily by all the states that are right now in the APC. What did they do? Under President Obasanjo, feeling very, very put out by democracy and secularism, those states introduced Sharia. It is the states where the political Sharia was introduced that was radicalized, and the radicalization of those spaces have now mutated into what you've seen as violence. It is now the Boko Haram. These are the same people seeking to govern when they cannot train children. But these people have the highest amount of children without access to education than anywhere else in the world in the APC states. We have, for the first time, as Goodluck has done, introduced a rejigging of the elementary curriculum. And that's why you see now, we will be able to train people from northwest Nigeria who will have the requisite skills needed to succeed and win in a market-driven system so that we can build an inclusive something.
All right.
I'm happy that we've been able to grow the fastest growing middle class in Africa, in Nigeria today.
Okay.
And nobody can deny about that.
You.
So we'll
come back to you, Mr. Nanju. Let's bring in Dr. Tamjod. Dr. Tamjod, they've talked about the different parties and their issues as concerns the postponement of the elections. But Professor Jega anchored it basically on security in the Northeast. And he has mentioned again the fact that his biggest concern, I mean, he was on our set and he said his biggest concern is security of the personnel that will be conducting these elections, especially in the Northeast. What do you think should be the position now?
First of all, I'm not entirely convinced that